Hello everyone. In this video, I would simply brief you about BAN 6093 case study 1 evaluation. So the task clearly explains you what to write and how it should be written. You might have received a email that consists of 3 documents, and first document is related to the case study, second one is an Excel file which consists of solution, and a third document in which you are supposed to insert all the images from the solution file and you are supposed to write interpretation. Let me show you the case study file. So this is the case study, Heavenly Chocolates related case study, and it clearly provides you detailing about a chocolate manufacturing company and what kind of information it was expecting from the regular details that are generated by the organization because of the operations. Okay, we are supposed to create some kind of graphical representations, and by interpreting them we should explain some relationship between different attributes that are existing in the table. An Excel sheet might have given to you in which it consists of data and solutions. So this is the data. In question 1, if you can see, it clearly shows the data. Okay, this is all the given data as it was shown in the case study. So by using this, we are supposed to we will be answering all the 6 questions that were asked in the case study. So let me check template that is given to you. This is the template in which you have to modify and provide all answers in the document. So these are the 6 questions that are included, and for each question you will get answer from the Excel sheet. Okay, this Excel sheet. So let me check the first question. It is asking about numerical and graphical representations related to length of the time, number of pages viewed, and mean amount of time spent on each transaction. So based on the requirement, I have created 3 different graphs. You are supposed to take all the 3 graphs and copy paste into your Word document. Before that, try to modify the graphs. Double click on it and you select some random graph and modify some details related to it. You can maintain unique style, like if you are using this one, you can keep all as same styles. Okay, so now first one, what I do is I will take Excel sheet, and first it was asked related to 3 important details, so I will make 3 headings here. Second heading, you are supposed to modify it. I'm just, for nominal sake, I'm taking as it is from the sheets. Okay, so this is first heading about which I have created the graph, second heading and the third heading. So you are supposed to insert graph here. I will explain one graph, and all the 3 graphs also explain details, almost similar detail, consists of almost similar details. For each graph you are supposed to provide at least for each question you are supposed to provide at least 100 word of interpretation on your own. Mostly 100 words, not exactly 100 words required. So here if you see, this is related to the number of minutes stayed on the website, means the number of minutes they spent on the website and total number of transactions that were made. You can see that this is 0 to 10 minutes, how many people spent time, and 10 to 11 to 15 minutes, how many people spent that time, and 15 to 20 minutes, how many people spent that time, like that 31 to 35, how many people spent that time. Here if you check, 2 different variables can be identified. One is least amount of time spent, largest amount of time spent. Least amount of time spent is 10 to 15 minutes, largest amount of time spent is 31 to 35 minutes. You can speak about how many people spent least amount of time and how many people spent largest amount of time. If I was writing a document regarding the length of the shopper spends the time, I can say that there are 17 people who spent least amount of time, and there are 2 people who spent large amount of time watching the website, based on which they make transactions. Okay. Second variable that you are supposed to address is number of transactions made. So for example, here largest number of transactions, that is 20 minutes, 20 transactions, and least amount of transactions, that is 0. Otherwise second highest, that is 2 transactions. So you can say that most of the transactions were happen when it was between 11 and 15 minutes of visit on the website, and very least amount of transactions were happened when the people stayed on website for 26 to 30 minutes. You can also speak about second highest number of like details that are related to the variable. So similarly for the pages viewed, you can say that least number of pages viewed is 0 to 2 and highest number is 11 to 12. When least number of pages viewed, the possibility of making transactions was 7, it was identified, and when largest number of pages viewed is 11 to 12, at that time the number of transactions that were made were 0. Similarly, number of transactions, most of the transactions happened when number of page views were between 3 and 4, and the second highest number of transactions were happened when the page view is between 5 and 6. In this way you can establish relationship between two different variables. Okay, so similarly you can discuss about this one. This is also related to total amount spent. Okay. Most of the people spent amount between 31 and 60, and least amount was 0 to 30, and largest amount was spent by only 2 people. Like that you can interpret this one. Okay, next one we are supposed to discuss based on the different type of days, different name of days. Means for example, if in a week we will be having different days, right? For second question, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For that, those days, what are the number of transactions? Frequency means what are the number of transactions happened. Total dollar spent means total amount spent for Monday. During Monday, what is the total? When we compare all the Mondays of in a month or year, what is the total amount that was spent for Monday? What is the total amount spent for Tuesday? That factor should be identified. And what is the average amount spent for each day? On Monday, what is the average spent based on the number of transactions and total amount paid? What are the average amount of transactions that happen for each day? That should be discussed here. Okay, if you go to Excel, in the second question you can find that answer. So this is the answer, and just copy this one and paste it onto your solution sheet here. Just make enough modify. This is day name. You can give any name, any heading like day in the week or weekday, some name you can give, and it is frequency that was asked. And you can also modify this one using this, like see, when you select this one completely, you get this kind of symbol. Double click on that and select some option, it automatically modifies. You can simplify this one. You can make mean, just you can say mean, or you mean amount, total mean amount, something. You can give a random name to that. All right, and you can also reduce these values, not require that they should be this long. You can make some sample deletion करके आप normal कर सकते हो. Okay, so make sure that this is simplified. All right, so these details are also simplified. You can make solution to, you can make this solution to, or like answer to answer to, some name you can give, any name you can give. All right, so however here we are trying to analyze what are number of transactions that happened for each day, and what is the total amount spent for each day, and what is the mean value of transaction that was spent for each day. So you can identify based on the frequency. You can explain that 11 is the highest, right? So when compared to all the transaction during Fridays, most of the transactions were happened because the frequency for Friday is the largest, and it was identified that Thursday and Sunday got very least number of transactions as the frequency is low. So this is the basic observation. Second important observation is what is the largest amount generated day. So the largest amount is 945. It clearly explains that Friday is the day on which total dollar spent was largest, and smallest is 218, which explains that Sunday is the day on which very low amount was spent, total low amount was spent. Similarly, you can speak about average amount spent. Here we can see that average amount spent is larger for Monday and it is least for Sunday. So these comments you can make in your own style, and you can interpret about this below the table. There is one more similar type of activity we should done for third one. It is based on the type of the browser. Similar to the type of name of the day, we have details for browser type people are using. So just name this browser or browser name. So now by using browser, like we see that most of the people who are making transactions were using Chrome browser. Least number of people were using different type of browsers other than Chrome and Firefox. You can see that largest total dollar was spent on Chrome browser and least was spent on some other browser. Another important information is the average amount of transaction or mean amount of transaction was done on Chrome, and the largest main transaction was happened on Firefox. These details can be given as interpretation in addition to your own explanation. Next, we should provide a scatter plot. Scatter plot always helps to establish relationship between two or more attributes. Like mostly if you are comparing two attributes, it will be very helpful. Here it is also important that we also create correlation coefficient. So let's make you understand what is correlation. So if you are comparing two important factors, like let us take this same value only. Okay, first one is for relationship between time spent on website and dollar amount spent. So what is the time spent and how it is related to the dollar spent? This is correlation that is created, and this is the correlation coefficient. Okay, so correlation coefficient is 0.58. Usually correlation value starts from -1 and it moves up to +1. So the value ranges between -1 and +1. So -1 means it is totally negative. If you are 1, I am -1. If you are 2, I am -2, like that. If time is increasing at the same page, average amount also reduces if it is negatively related. If it is positive related, if time is increasing, the amount spent will also increase. So here we can see that this is greater than 0 and less than 1, but it is not negative, it is actually positive. It clearly explains that there is a positive relationship between time and amount spent. The magnitude is very high. If the value is greater than 0.01, 0.1, if it is greater than 0.1, we usually say that magnitude is good. Means it clearly has impact on, there is a clear impact between both the variables actually. So we say that based on the correlation coefficient value, the magnitude is very high and it is a positive magnitude. So both the variables are positively correlated. So let us see you just copy paste this one. Using this value, you are supposed to mention this value. 0.58 is enough, okay, to mention. You can also mention 0.5800 also. Okay, it's up to you. Mention this and say that there is a positive correlation between two variables. Now take this graph. You try to modify this one also. Okay, when you double click on it, it provides you some kind of modification related one. Okay, you just modify it and give your own interpretation. Okay, here we are comparing both time spent and amount spent. Based on the line, this line shows that increasing. The value is as 5, 10, 15, 13 it is going, the line is going up. It means that it is in increasing order. This is a trend line, and according to the trend line, a trend line that is plotted between amount spent and time spent clearly shows that there is a positive relationship between both the variables, and as the time spent increases, the total amount spent also increases. So very simple. You can keep these equations or you can remove that, it's up to you. Okay, they just asked for regression scatter plot. Okay, so next one, similarly it is also between relationship between two other variables, pages viewed and amount spent. This also have a correlation of very high magnitude, 0.723, which says that there is a positive correlation between both the variables. And the graph clearly shows that there is a positive relationship between number of pages viewed by the customer and amount spent. So for this you are supposed to take the image, you should discuss about the correlation coefficient, and then you just take image, try to remove this equation. It's not required actually. If you want, you can keep also. You can just move it, like if you want to keep that one, you just move side by side somewhere. You can move it to some other place in the graph, because you can't keep in the same graph at same place. Now your interpretation, similar to the last image, it clearly explains the positive correlationship between amount spent and number of pages viewed. The other graph, sixth question, is related to the time spent and pages viewed. Okay, here correlation is high, so you should mention the value and you should speak about the correlation. Then you just plot your scatter plot here. You try to explain that as number time increases, time spent on the pages increased, time spent on the website increased, the number of pages viewed by the customer also increase. So this is a regular thing. Okay, so help yourself and complete these activities as it was explained in the video. Add statistics book here as reference and submit it to me. That's it for the day. That's it for this task, and I will share one more case study. Please help yourself and complete it as quick as possible.